Divination, a skill that definitely exists in RuneScape 3. And I'm here to talk about it because divination really isn't a very good skill, and that's exactly what we're going to explore in this video. Now, I know that many of you might not be aware of what divination actually is. So, divination is a RuneScape 3 skill where it's essentially divided in two parts. You have rifts around Gielinor with wisps that you can gather memories from and deposit them on the rift for some essence. And then the second part is using that essence alongside with some items to either transmog them and upgrade them in quality, or essentially just do other or make other unique rewards. Uh, Ultimately, those parts are not directly connected too much, aside the fact that you gather essence by depositing the memories into the rifts. And overall, the fact that I need to explain that there's two parts to a skill and that it doesn't feel like an overarching thing, it's already problematic. Most skills in RuneScape, regardless of them being a bit more simple or complex, all feel like an entire experience from beginning to end on the way you are training them. They never really feel separate in the rewards that they give you and the method that you use to train them. So, for example, with catting. Super simple skill, all you do is just get trees. But the way you train the skill, which is getting trees, and the rewards that you get, which is getting the logs, are connected, right? There's never a division between getting the skill XP and getting the reward, right? Divination does have that distinction, and that is the first problem that the skill actually has. Secondly, however, that's not the only problem, because another issue that divination has is that the skill itself and the process of gathering essence, not only is it super simple and lacks a lot of depth, including the rewards, by the way, the rewards are simple and lack depth. The problem is that the XP rates are incredibly slow, like excruciatingly slow. Like, I would say that from 0 XP to a million XP, this is probably the slowest skill in the entire game. Now, I know what some people are thinking, but what about caches? Caches exist, they're good XP per day. The problem with caches is that you can only do them twice a day, and they are essentially a minigame that occurs every hour. Not everyone will be around for them. It feels like a daily that you need to do, and I know the RuneScape 3 players love their dailies, and to them, anything that isn't absolutely the best XP in the game, you shouldn't do it because fan is not allowed, but ultimately, when it comes to that skill, when it comes to divination and caches, yes, that is the only way you actually have to train the skill properly. Because outside of that, it's so excruciating slow that it will take you days for you to even get to 90, 80, 90, right? It's extremely slow. So a skill that essentially requires you to do it daily for it to even be worth engaging with is already extremely bad to begin with. And this is to not mention that the only variation in gameplay comes at level 70 with all of memories. That is the only variation in the entire skill. And even then, that place, in my opinion, isn't complex enough or doesn't have the depthness required for the skill to be justified. I think that if there were multiple halls of memory that offer different rewards, maybe it could be justified, but the fact that most people in the community end up getting into NFC to actually be able to do it properly doesn't really bode well for the entire skill. This is like the best mining XP in old school being tied to the star mining friend chat. Really not the best thing in the game. Now, obviously, that is not everything that is bad with the skill, because there's yet another problem with it, which is the lack of rewards. Now, I said that the rewards lack depthness. In reality, the rewards aren't even worth using. Outside of porters and maybe divine locations, it's really not usable. Most of the rewards and the way to transmog rewards is you grab an item. So, for example, let's say that you want to make rune ore. So you grab essence, you grab heavy ore, and then you make rune ore. Now, that's a nice idea in theory, But in practice, it's so expensive and it's really not worth doing at all. Not even for the XP, not for the reward. You're better off just selling the essence because that will always be more GP than whatever item you actually end up being able to transmog. And really, all of these combined just makes the skill a really, really bad experience early game, even when using caches, because come on, it's a daily, right? That's not exactly engaging with a skill. And even late game, it's not that fun either, even after you've unlocked invention and all of the things related to invention that can help you do divination more efficiently and everything. It's still not a very good skill to engage with. The gameplay really doesn't have a lot of depthness. The XP rates are abysmal and the rewards are pretty much unusable. With all of this being said, well, how do we fix it? How do we actually make a skill that is actually better to train? Well, I think that there's a couple of things that we can do. The number one being just make the XP rates better. Like, seriously, any skill that relies on a daily to not be an absolute chore to train because of how slow they are is a bad skill, right? And I don't understand why you get such, like, little XP rates. And when I say little, I really mean little. Gathering memories that give you access, we are talking about the level 1 memories, for example. You get 1 XP per memory gathered. 1. Yeah, look, it's a skill that will take you ages to actually get to 99 if you never use any of the other things. If you don't use caches, if you don't use all of memories or anything like that, this skill will take fucking ages to train. Now, I know that jagex has actually made it so you can like enrich caches, so you get enriched memories, which usually give more essence and more XP when deposited. The problem with that is not only is it world dependent and brings the community focus, or you need to be in a community aspect for even to be worth using. You can really only find enriched rifts in the colonies that are level 95 div, I think, either 90 or 95 div. Every other colony around the game just does not have this available to you, like at all. Most people specially skip early game by just doing caches anyway, so you really never see anyone. So a skill that requires community aspect doesn't even actually have community aspect outside of the very late game, right? So just increase the XP rates, and secondly, make the rewards better. And make the rewards more unique, more usable. Make the rewards even things that make your divination experience better, be it by increasing XP rates or increasing the capacity of memories you can hold at a single time, or how fast you actually catch memories, or things of the sort. Just make the rewards actually be worthwhile also for divination, not just for the rest of the game. Because right now, as I've said, outside of porters, really no one uses any of the rewards that you can get with essence. And thirdly, and I think that this is by far the most important, but I also think it's by far the hardest one, just make the transition between training the skill and getting its rewards smoother. Make it so people want to train the skill and as a result get essence and genuinely want to engage with that essence, as opposed to just letting it sit there in their inventory or sell it to someone else, because ultimately it's fucking useless. People only use that essence to make divine charges for invention. Because yes, the rewards for this skill are pretty useless. But when you remember that without invention, people wouldn't even touch it, it's even worse at the end of the day. Divination, I would say, is legitimately the worst skill between both games. I would say that Divination is worse than Old School's Mining and Old School's Agility. It's an abysmal skill, it has abysmal XP rates, it doesn't feel smooth when it comes to training it or the transition between training it and the rewards you get from it. You don't get any good rewards from it, it has no use whatsoever. It's really a baffling skill that has been in the game for over 10 years at this point, and I'm honestly questioning why Jagex has never done anything about it, because this skill definitely needs something to be done about it.